What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Arman is not happy at all with Paddy Pimblett's new ranking, and he didn't hold back when sharing his thoughts. He made it very clear that he's not impressed with Paddy's recent rise and believes he shouldn't even be in the rankings, let alone anywhere near the top 10. Arman pointed out that people keep talking about Paddy's undefeated streak in the UFC, but to him, that doesn't mean much when you look at the level of competition he's faced. Arman broke it down bluntly, saying Paddy's wins don't justify the hype. He mentioned that Paddy beat Tony Ferguson at a point when Tony had already suffered 8 losses in a row. Before that, he fought Bobby Green, who had 3 or 4 losses going into the matchup. And then there was the fight with Chandler, who he feels wasn't on a great run either. To Arman, none of these wins prove that Paddy belongs among the best in the division. He argued that if a fighter wants to be considered top 10, the resume has to reflect that. Beating guys who are on losing streaks or past their prime doesn't earn you a serious ranking. Arman said it's crazy that people are even discussing Paddy as a potential title contender when, in his eyes, Paddy hasn't shown anything close to that level. He believes ranking him this high is undeserved, and pushing him toward a title fight would be a massive mistake. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news. Belal Muhammad is firing shots at Garry once again, and this time he's bringing Garry's wife into the mix. During a recent interview, Belal said he genuinely believes Ian isn't the one coming up with his own trash talk. Instead, he thinks the lines are being written for him, especially by his wife, and all Ian has to do is read them out loud. Belal explained that Garry already has his next 5 fights mapped out, and when he starts talking like that, people wonder whether he's overlooking Belal or just hyping himself up. But Belal didn't hesitate. He said Ian is great at reading a script, and that his writers and his wife are the ones putting the words together. According to Belal, Ian might sound confident, but confidence on paper doesn't mean much when it's time to fight. Belal added that anyone can sit down and write out their future, their goals, and the perfect storyline they want to follow. But none of that changes what's happening right now. He made it clear that the present moment is all that matters. And on Saturday night, he plans to completely rewrite whatever story Ian thinks he's already created. Belal said he's ready to shut down the talk, step into the cage, and show Ian that reading lines isn't the same as delivering under pressure. Moving on to another news. Islam Makhachev has stirred up social media once again, this time calling for Craig Jones to be fired. The whole situation kicked off after Craig was seen in JDM's corner at UFC 322. As many fans already know, Craig also played a major role in helping Alexander Volkanovski prepare for both of his training camps against Islam, giving him high-level grappling support. Now, Islam isn't holding back. He jumped onto X and posted a poll that immediately grabbed attention. He wrote, "I decide Craig Jones needs to be fired. We have to make Australia great again." The 2 options in his poll were simple but pretty harsh: fire and send 2 to 3 years Dagestan. Craig didn't stay quiet. Shortly after, he fired back on Instagram with his own twist on the situation. In his caption, he joked, 2 to 3 years in Dagestan sounds a lot more appealing. The back and forth quickly spread across MMA circles, with fans debating whether Islam was being serious or just trolling in classic fashion. Either way, the exchange added another layer to the story behind UFC 322 and the coaching dynamics surrounding fighters like JDM and Volkanovski. The tension, mixed with humor, kept the MMA community buzzing as both sides continued to playfully poke at each other. Moving on to another news. Demetrius Johnson believes MMA fans have forgotten how to appreciate pure dominance. He opened up about how the sport has reached a point where, whenever a fighter completely outclasses their opponent, fans immediately complain that the fight was boring or lacked excitement. He shared a moment from Tokyo, where he was at an event with Bisping. Bisping mentioned he heard the fight was horrible, but Demetrius pushed back, saying it wasn't horrible at all. One athlete was simply dominant from start to finish. Demetrius explained that in today's era of mixed martial arts, fans crave non-stop chaos, big knockouts, and wild moments. When a fighter shows high-level control, technique, and flawless execution, many people overlook the skill involved because they want something more explosive. He said that even when someone completely shuts down their opponent, people react like the fight sucked, when in reality, it just shows the gap in skill between the 2 athletes. He acknowledged that fans naturally want more action, but he emphasized that sometimes you just have to respect the performance for what it is. If one fighter is significantly better than the other, then domination is the logical outcome. There's nothing the other guy can do when he's being outmatched in every area. Demetrius said MMA is about skill, strategy, and levels, too, and fans shouldn't ignore greatness simply because it isn't packaged in chaos or highlight reel moments. Moving on to another news, Jorge Masvidal has shared his thoughts on the welterweight division, and he made a bold claim about who he believes can actually beat Islam Makhachev. During a recent conversation, Jorge said that while fighters like Carlos and Morales are right there in title contention and fully deserving of big opportunities, people are forgetting about one major threat in the weight class. He called Shavkat Rakhmonov the true boogeyman at welterweight, the monster everyone needs to keep in mind. Jorge praised Shavkat heavily, saying he's the only guy he genuinely believes has the tools to beat Islam. He explained that Shavkat is naturally bigger, a strong and well-rounded wrestler, and has an endless gas tank that allows him to push a non-stop pace. Jorge also pointed out that Shavkat is solid on the feet. He might take some shots to give some back, but he's never out of position and always dangerous. Jorge admitted that he had almost forgotten about Shavkat because he's been injured for a while, but when healthy, he's one of his favorite welterweights to watch. He went on to say, Shavkat might be the one guy who can run through the division and give Islam real problems. Jorge suggested potential matchups like Shavkat versus JDM, or Shavkat against Carlos or Michael, depending on who doesn't get the next title shot. He said the division needs to see Shavkat back in action soon, because he deserves to be fighting for gold, and fans need to be reminded just how dangerous he really is. Moving on to another news. Belal Muhammad is sounding more fired up than ever as he gets ready to face Garry this weekend, and he's making it clear that he's planning on knocking him out. With UFC Qatar finally here, the co-main event between Belal and Garry has been one of the biggest talking points of the entire card. Belal even joked that we might see Mr. Canelo hands showing up on Saturday night, and honestly, with the way he's been talking, and he seems fully locked in for this matchup. For those that forgot, this fight almost became a 5-rounder, but back in October, Belal revealed on X that Garry didn't want it to go 5. Instead, they're settling for 3 rounds, and Belal has not stopped bringing that up during fight week. With more interviews rolling out, he sat down with Mike Bohn from MMA Junkie and broke down a surprisingly detailed game plan for how he intends to deal with Garry. Belal explained that in the first round, he actually plans on running around a bit, letting Garry circle, letting him touch with those light jabs, and basically feeling the rhythm of the fight. But he said that by the end of that first round, all that point-style striking won't matter. Belal said he's going to grab him, take him down, and then, just to make a point, he'll let Garry stand back up so he knows exactly who's in control. After that, Belal wants to outbox him clean, especially since Garry has been saying he can outstrike him. Belal gave credit where it was due, saying Garry is a pretty striker, and he shared the cage with top-level guys like MVP, Shavkat, and Prates, and none of them were able to finish him. But for Belal, that's exactly where he wants to separate himself. He said the goal is to finish Garry on the feet, silence the doubters, and remind everyone who he is and why he's at the top of this division. Hearing Belal talk with this kind of confidence, composure, and detail really shows how seriously he's taking this moment. If he goes in there and actually executes everything he's describing, especially getting a KO over someone as durable as Garry, it would be massive for his career and for the entire welterweight landscape. Moving on to another news, Garry responded to Belal Muhammad's comments during an interview with Mike Bohn from MMA Junkie, and he didn't hold back. Garry made it clear that there's no chance Belal survives past 5 minutes if the fight stays on the feet. He said that while Belal has had a lot of success doing what he does best, mixing up his attacks, the scenario changes entirely when he steps into the octagon with Garry. According to Ian, anyone thinking Belal can outstrike him for an extended period is deceiving themselves. Garry explained that Belal's recent comments are a form of reverse psychology. He believes Belal is trying to convince the world that he can handle anything, but deep down, he knows he's going to want to grab a hold of Garry at some point. Ian said it sounds like Belal is already making excuses before the fight even begins, trying to set up a narrative where he can justify his strategy. Ian went on to break down the thought process he sees in Belal. He pointed out that Belal knows Garry will defend when he tries to grapple, and that mental calculation is already in play. Garry said he understands Belal's intentions, and he plans to control the fight by staying sharp and using his striking to dominate the early stages. He emphasized that Belal's attempts to mix it up won't be enough against his speed, accuracy, and timing, and once the fight hits the first few minutes, it will become clear who has the advantage. Garry's confidence and clear read on Belal's approach show that he's not only prepared physically, but mentally ready to dictate the pace and outcome of the matchup. Moving on to another news. Valentina Shevchenko has responded to all the backlash she's been getting since her victory over Jiang Li at UFC 322. Despite the card being widely praised, especially with the first 3 main card fights ending in knockouts, the energy slowed down in both the co-main and the main event. Those fights went the distance, and some fans felt the action didn't match the early momentum of the night. Valentina, however, doesn't seem bothered by any of the criticism. She made it clear that she can't please everyone, and she's not going to try. During her interview, she was asked whether she feels that the mastery of martial arts is truly appreciated by the fans, knowing that many people just want non-stop wars, wild exchanges, and chaos. Valentina said it all depends. She explained that you can never be good for everyone, no matter how skilled you are. Even the highest level strikers in the world have people who praise them and people who criticize them. She said that there will always be 2 sides. Those who say yes and those who say no. And that's just how it is. Valentina emphasized that a fighter has to choose what they stand for. She believes in staying true to herself, focusing on her craft, and refusing to get caught up in trying to satisfy every critic. She said, "You can't get mad at people who don't have the experience, the understanding, or the ability to recognize high-level martial arts. Some fans simply haven't developed that eye yet. They may want something different because they don't fully see what's happening in there." But she believes that over time, many of them will come to appreciate the deeper aspects of the sport. They'll learn, they'll understand, and they'll grow into fans of the technical side as well. She finished by saying that, at the end of the day, what truly matters is that there are more people supporting than not. As long as the majority understands and appreciates what she brings, that's enough for her. She's going to keep being herself, keep performing at a high level, and keep representing martial arts the way she believes it should be done. Moving on to another news, Garry spoke during Media Day about his desire to face Islam, Makhachev, and gave a detailed breakdown of what he sees in his game. According to Ian, Islam is a phenomenal fighter, and his southpaw stance and technical skill make him extremely dangerous. Garry admitted he was impressed with Islam's performance against JDM, noting how clean and composed he looked on the feet. His calmness and elite striking had Garry paying close attention. However, Ian believes there are still obvious holes in Islam's fighting style that he can exploit. By carefully watching the striking exchanges, he sees gaps that he plans to take advantage of when they face off. Ian acknowledged Islam's world-class wrestling and submission ability, saying that when Islam grabs a hold of your leg, he is technically perfect, intelligent, and makes very few mistakes. Islam's approach is precise, and he's a dangerous submission threat for anyone who isn't prepared. Despite that, Garry said he doesn't worry about it. He believes he's fast, intelligent, and smart on the feet. Standing taller and longer than anyone Islam has faced before gives him a reach advantage, and he's undefeated against southpaws. Garry said that in a fight, Islam will have to catch him while overcoming his length, range, and elite speed. He emphasized that his hand speed and movement are his biggest weapons. Opponents often underestimate how fast he is until they step in front of him, and then they're forced to react as their head snaps back and they struggle to adjust. Garry said that no one, not even top-level bantamweights, has ever moved as fast as him, and he believes that speed, combined with his reach and elusiveness, will be the difference in this matchup. He's confident in his ability to control the fight, keep the distance, and exploit the gaps he sees in Islam's otherwise elite skill set, making him a unique and dangerous challenge for the lightweight champion. Moving on to another news, Dan Hooker has made it clear he's not worried at all about Arman pulling out of their upcoming fight this weekend. Speaking with Submission Radio, Dan explained that for some reason people always assume he's constantly dealing with opponents withdrawing, when in reality, it has almost never happened to him. He said that he's actually never been pulled out on in his entire career, and he joked that it might have something to do with his personality. According to Dan, he smiles all the time, cracks jokes, and stays relaxed. So maybe fighters look at him and think he has a hella punchable face, which never ends up backing out against him. He added that he's trained with plenty of fighters who have had opponents pull out on them multiple times, even reaching double digits in cancellations. But for him, it's been the complete opposite, and said he doesn't know why people act like Arman pulling out is some big possibility, because based on his own career history, opponents almost always show up when they're scheduled to fight him. He emphasized that he's fully prepared, fully focused, and has zero concern about last-minute changes. Dan made it clear that everything's on track, and he's ready to step into the cage this weekend without stressing about anything outside his control. Moving on to another news, Dana White has fired back at all the talk surrounding so-called Dana White privilege, especially the claims that certain fighters are handed opportunities they haven't earned. During his appearance on the Trigonometry podcast, Dana was asked directly about Bo Nickel and why he's been pushed so quickly. Many fans believe Bo hasn't faced the level of competition needed to justify the spotlight he's getting. Dana didn't hesitate for a second. He immediately called the entire idea of Dana White privilege stupid and explained why the criticism misses the point of how fight promotion actually works. He said that when the UFC brings in new talent, they evaluate which fighters have the potential to become world champions. Every fighter wants to be a champion, but some clearly have a higher ceiling than others. So you give those athletes opportunities, you put them in key positions, and you see whether they're capable of delivering at the highest level. Dana pointed to Conor as an example. People claimed Conor had Dana White privilege, yet he went on to become one of the biggest sports superstars on the planet. He mentioned Ronda Rousey as well, saying she received the same type of criticism when she was brought in, but she ended up becoming a massive superstar who helped launch women's MMA and changed the sport forever. He then circled back to Bo Nickel, noting that Bo came in with a lot of hype because of his wrestling credentials. So, of course, the UFC was going to test him and see if he could perform under the bright lights. That's what fight promotion is. Dana said any athlete who receives big opportunities will attract those accusations, not just in the UFC, but in every area of life. Some people simply refuse to take responsibility when they don't achieve what they thought they would. Instead of admitting their shortcomings, they blame the system, the promotion, or the so-called privilege they didn't get. Dana finished by saying those types of people will always exist, and no amount of success from other fighters will ever change their mindset.